San Jose. I'm bringing the Live and Alive tour your way. I'll be at the San Jose Improv Friday, February 28th and Saturday, March 1st. Madison, Wisconsin. I'm excited to announce I'm shooting my next special at your club, Comedy on State. I was there not too long ago, had such a great time, such a great club that I'm excited to work with them and bring you my next special. 2 shows, Saturday, April 12th. Get your tickets now at ryansickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler, and I'm thanking you for supporting this show. Anything I do, thank you. Thank you for telling people about this. I don't care what you do. You buy a t-shirt, whatever it is. Thank you for supporting anything I do. And if you got to have more, then you got to have the Patreon. It's the HoneyDew with y'all. It's this show with y'all. And I promise you, every week, we hear something we've never heard before. It is the wildest show on Patreon. It's $5 a month. And if you or someone you know has a story that has to be heard, please submit it to honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. If you sent one in before, send it again, bump it to the top. We get a ton. We would love to do your story. We also have a second tier there for $3 more where you're getting the Wayback a day early, ad-free. All of it's censor-free, but you're getting bonus content as well on that tier. We're not just charging you to get a show a day early, all right? That's the biz. You guys know what we do here. We highlight the lowlights, and I always say that these are the stories behind the storytellers, and I am very excited to have this guest here. First time on the HoneyDew. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rosebud Baker. Welcome to the HoneyDew, Rosebud Baker.
Thank you for the applause. God damn. I'm so fucking happy to be here.
I am happy that you're here too.
Yeah, we had a powwow in the parking lot.
We did. You didn't. I hit you with a tsunami of shit you didn't even know was coming.
Yeah, I was like, are we crying before we start?
You never even met me.
Yes.
You've been such an integral part of my parenting and life, and you have no idea. But look, we're going to get into that in a minute here. But before we do, plug everything and anything that you would like, please.
Okay. So I have a special out on Netflix called The Mother Lode. It was shot in 2 parts. It was shot 1 year when I was 8 months pregnant, and then I shot a new hour a year after having the baby, and I combined the 2 into one special.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Love the name.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And that is out. Go check it out. I am going on the road. I'm going to be in Vegas on the February 21st through the 22nd, March 14th through 16th, Pittsburgh. I'm going to be in SLC. I got a bunch of road dates coming up, so people can check that out at rosebudbaker.com. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Actually, I'm not on Twitter anymore, but Rosebud Baker.
Podcast?
I don't have a podcast anymore.
No?
No.
You did stop.
I did stop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to have a podcast.
Well, go watch our special on Netflix right now, Mother Lode. It was a great name.
Thank you.
Where are you from originally, Rosebud Baker?
Originally, I am from right outside of D.C.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maryland?
Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, I was going to say, if you're a Maryland girl, I'm going to lose it. That's where I'm from, and I bleed it. So.
Oh, shit. Are you?
Yeah, that's what makes sense. You're right in that DMV pocket there. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I am, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I ambushed you outside because first of all, I've been a fan of yours for a while, and I was introduced to you in a weird way through a friend of ours, or someone you had pitched to, but a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And I heard your story, or this particular story, and it affected me because I was a single parent from the time my daughter was 1. So her and mom and I split when she was 1. So I'm literally a new dad and a new single dad. And
damn,
I don't know anything. Yeah. And everything scares me.
Yeah.
And when you're in that mental space, it feels like everyone that's got the worst case scenario story loves to come find you and tell your ass about it. You know what I mean? You know, kid can fly out on a sunroof. I'm like, God, we can't have a sunroof. You know what I mean? All that shit.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hear this story about your sister, and it has haunted me and terrified me. And again, I am not going to make this about me, but I'm just saying you don't even know. This is, would you say you pitched that show 2016, 17,
It would have been
somewhere in there?
2016 or 2017.
I mean, my daughter at that time's 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I hear the story that we're going to talk about, and it fucked me up. It fucked me up because my friend has a hot tub, and I'm like, you don't go underwater. Don't do. And
Right.
so I appreciate you being comfortable enough to talk about this because it's also important. This is something that, you know.
Absolutely.
But again, you're a mom, and how old your
recent?
Yeah, how old?
Yeah, she just turned 16 months.
Oh, she's not even 2 yet.
Yeah, no.
So you know, when you're a new parent, like everything is terrifying.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter's born. You know, you're like, okay, all the fingers, all the toes, breathing, all the good things.
Right.
I was terrified to drive home from the hospital to home.
Oh my God, yeah.
Terrified.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That ride was like,
no, every
stopping at yellow lights,
going outside.
You know what I mean?
Going outside.
Anything. Yeah.
I remember like cars
We just
being
leave
louder,
now. We're in charge of this. Yeah.
Dogs barking louder. Like shit just felt louder.
Yeah, more aggressive.
And scarier.
Yeah.
It was, I've never walked outside with that feeling of like,
so,
yeah.
Let's talk about your
that
family
sucks
first.
that you heard this story while you were feeling like that.
Oh, at my low. I've journaled about this.
I'm sure you,
You
have.
don't even know how much
you
impacted me.
I'm so sorry.
I've been in therapy and journal.
Because
I'm like, I gotta tell you this story.
My husband was the same. My husband was like losing his mind the whole year. I mean, he was really anxious, and I have more of a, it's more internalized. So I sort of just push it all down and then freak the fuck out, you know?
Yeah.
But like to hear it secondhand, you can almost like absorb it better. So I'm sorry.
Well, don't be Derby. Let's talk about your family first. Mom, dad, how many siblings total?
So I have 4 younger siblings.
Oh, you're the oldest. Okay.
Yeah, I have 4 younger siblings. That is counting my sister that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
I am the oldest. The biggest gap between us is 10 years.
Is it all girls?
All girls.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All girls.
All right.
Every dinner was like a fucking episode of Real Housewives. It was like, for real. Everyone's screaming, crying.
Knives coming at
knives
you.
coming
Bread's
out,
being thrown and shit in your face.
drinks being spilled.
Okay.
My dad going, God damn it. And then leaving the table. It was
But
that.
mom and dad are together?
No.
No.
My dad and my mom divorced. They separated when I was in my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Which I kind of knew was going to happen. I felt that, I was old enough to like feel that happening. And then
so it's something you felt, not something that was outright like mom's cheating on dad and this big blow up happens.
No.
You just
it was
feel
just
that
this
energy.
kind of, my dad is a lawyer. He's working like at his law firm constantly. And then they have 5 kids. And I remember I remember them telling us they were pregnant with twins. And my sister, who was 8 at the time, was like, how are we going to afford this?
Yeah, for real though.
And it was a legit question. You know what I mean?
So there was already 3 and the last one actually ends up being 2. Is that
Mhm.
right? Wow.
Yeah, they tried to have a boy and they got twin girls.
Oh,
And then
shame. That's what
Yeah.
you get.
Yeah,
know?
they got
right.
greedy.
Yeah, got greedy.
So it was, but I was fucking thrilled that we were all girls. I never really wanted for a brother. I was like, I loved having sisters, still love having sisters. And my family literally has not had a boy until this year. My sister just had a little boy, but it was
you
the
have
first.
a girl. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the first boy that breaks the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, and my
Was
sister.
your dad trying for the boy for like the old school, like to keep
he
the
wanted
name
to name
thing?
it. Yeah. He wanted to keep the name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Things go. Yeah.
Yeah. God said, fuck your name. So they got separated when I was a senior in high school. I kind of knew they were going to get a divorce. It just felt like this isn't going to get better. My dad was in an apartment. It was a shitty apartment. He didn't fill his fridge up. It felt really sad. It's a strange feeling to see your dad, who's like, when you're a kid, your dad is like the most powerful dude alive. You're like, he's terrifying. And it was weird to go to his house and see like ketchup and like that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You just start to see the frailty of like men for the first time. Because they don't know how to navigate. He didn't know how to navigate his feelings. So anyway, I go through my senior year of high school. My graduation was coming up, and my friend, a good friend of mine, invited my family to his family's house to do like a graduation, ceremony.
So a combo
like
party.
a party, yeah. Backyard party. He had a pool, he had a hot tub. It was like there was a fucking slide. So me, my sisters, my mom, we were all getting in the car. We go to this party. Everybody's having a great time. I remember the twins, Jackie and Graeme, they were taking forever to get in the car. We finally got in. Everybody gets in it. Every time we got in the car, it was a fucking nightmare. It was literally like packing.
What are you
It was like
driving back
fleeing
then
a
for all of you,
war-torn
too?
country.
Okay. Yeah.
So we finally get everybody, and it was a Suburban. It was
Okay.
a
I was gonna say, yeah.
big fucking Suburban with like 6 chicks on the license plate. It was my mom made it like she'd like loved her 6 chicks license plate. We all get in, we go to this party, and I changed my sister into her bathing suit. Her name's Graeme. She was 7 at the time. My other sister, Mary Stewart, was there. My sister Hallie was there. Hallie is 2 years younger than me. Mary Stewart is like 6 years younger than me. So we're all out there. I change her into her bathing suit. They get in the pool. They're having a great time. Now I have another party that I'm invited to at a different classmate's house, and I wanted to make it to both of them. Mm-hmm. And my sister Hallie, who's like close in my age and hung out with a lot of my friends, she came with me. So Hallie and I leave a little bit early from this party to go to my other friend's house. When I get to her house, like I get this call. And I'm trying to like remember all of this.
Can I ask you what year this is? Like, are you getting a cell phone call, or are they calling the house where you're at and saying, "Hey, can you get Rose?"
I can't remember. It was a cell phone. Okay. Yeah, it was a cell phone. Yeah. So they called, but they called the house. It was one of the, you know what I mean? Like people were still calling houses and they were using cell phones. So they called the house, and somebody came in. Don't remember who it was. Somebody came in and they were like, something happened to Jackie, who's my sister. My youngest sister, one of the twins, who kind of always was getting into trouble. Like Jackie was, when she was 2 years old, she got into the front of my mom's Suburban and she drove it down the driveway.
No.
Yes.
At 2?
Out of her car seat, got into the front, had watched my mother turn the thing, and knew how to, and put it in neutral or was just fucking with it. And literally the car, our driveway was like a big hill. Just the car rolled down the driveway, through the fence into the neighbor's yard.
Holy. And she was okay?
And she was okay.
Holy shit.
Her twin, Graeme, is in the back going, "Jackie, no drive."
Wait, like, she's in the car with her?
In the car
God.
seat. So Jackie got out of her car seat, left her twin in the car seat, and was like, "We're going for a ride."
I got this.
So when I heard something happened with Jackie, I was like, well, yeah, something always happens with Jackie. Jackie's, a lunatic. It's like why I love her. Because I was the scapegoat until she came along. So I just assumed, okay, everything's fine. Then somebody said, it was like somebody in my class, or I remember it was like a girl that I didn't respect, came in and said, something happened. She had come from the other party, and she was like, something happened with Graeme. Graeme's going to the hospital. And when I heard it was Graeme, I got this feeling in my stomach that was like something really bad happened. So I got in the car. I got in the car with my sister. I'm driving like a maniac. Which I'm a bad driver already, but I'm driving crazy on the way home. And I remember my sister going like, "You're going to kill us." And I was like, I think something's really wrong. Something was really, really wrong. And nobody would tell me what happened. That was the thing. Nobody would tell me what happened. So that alone was like, oh, this is fucked up. So I got in the car. I went home. By the time I got home, I walked in the kitchen. My mom was sitting in the kitchen with her face towards the sink, and her friends were all around her. And I walked in, and she turned around and she just said she didn't make it. And I had no idea what the fuck had gone on. I mean, I can't remember if it had been put together even at that point, what had happened. Like, and I feel like when you go through something like this, like the amount of shock that, okay, what had happened was that she was playing in the hot tub and her hair had gotten stuck in the drain in the bottom of the hot tub, and the power of the suction of these drains can literally disembowel people.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
this is way stronger than we think.
So
I didn't know that.
3 grown men had gone in. My mother was in there trying to pull her up, could not pull her up out of the water. And by the time they got her, it was like they had to cut her hair off, you know what I mean, they got her in a helicopter and she died in the helicopter.
Oh.
And
can I, like, this is the part I thought
or
about.
had died before she even got in the helicopter.
You know, everyone will hear this story and think whatever, you know. And I thought the same thing. Couldn't they have got scissors fast enough? But then I think back to my own childhood. I'm like, oh, our best friend Shannon Patterson had a pool, and it was a big yard, and it was down here. And even if you needed something from the house, you had to run up to the fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what the scenario is or the fact that anything's convenient. It's the fact that this suction is so fucking powerful.
I think
so you're literally saying
that,
if we sat on that, it could just kill you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that I think back about this a lot because my sister Graeme was on the swimming team. She was on the diving team. She was playing with my sisters who were all on the swimming team. You know, my mom had no reason to, she was right there, you know. I think it was my sisters who realized, you know, because they were playing and kids play in hot tubs all the time. I played in hot tubs.
And we also used to act like we were drowning all the
time. Just to see if anybody cared.
Yeah.
I'd be down there just like anybody.
Shark, right? Yeah. And you're like, hey, you're down there awful long time. Let one little bubble up.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't really know like what had happened. But all I know is that by the time that they realized what was wrong, they didn't have enough time to like pull her up, you know? Or maybe they did, but I don't even know. I'm like, I don't even relitigate that.
How many people were there? Like, this has got to be terrifying. This is everyone's worst nightmare happening in front of everyone at a fucking graduation party.
Yeah. I can't really remember. I don't remember. I mean, 20, 30, I don't know.
A lot of people.
Yeah. I have no idea who was there.
And so by the time you get back, she's already been sent to the hospital and everything, and
yeah,
everyone's already got the horrible news.
Yeah, so by the time I got to my mom's house, my mom was already home. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how long was I at this other house where people weren't telling me what had happened? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With
my sister, and then rushing home, and I see my mother who's devastated, and she turns around and says she didn't make it, and I just felt like it's just one of those things that changes your whole life forever from that moment forward. You know what I mean? The way that you think, the way that you perceive the world and your experience of it.
I didn't even experience it. And it fucked me up.
Yeah.
To this day, I still I'm terrified about hot tubs now. I'm not even kidding you. Like I anytime my kids go near one, I look in, make sure there's something covering it and shit.
Yeah.
Like I still tell them.
Well, every time
don't swim down there. It's not a pool.
It's a law that my mom got passed.
I wanted to talk about that. I just recently read that.
Yeah.
I was able to fucking go online and look, and I was like, wait, this is a law.
Yeah.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
So you walk in, your mom says this, and where's your dad?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
What do you do after your mom says that?
I think my dad was on a business trip.
Oh, he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he would, or he was, they were separated, so he may have been at his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember because she died on Father's Day or the day before Father's Day.
Oh.
And she had written him a Father's Day card.
That's from the grave.
Right. It was one of those, So, and I mean, it's so crazy. I haven't even told this story since I became a mom,
Yeah.
Like,
and this is what I was saying to you outside. Like before, you have the hindsight of a sister who lost a sister.
yeah.
And now you're a mom.
Yeah.
And you've got unfortunate insight into what, my God, your mom and dad must have felt and gone through and everything.
I mean,
and then to have to be, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, to keep a brave face and be strong for the other fucking kids. And, like, good God.
I can't.
How?
It's almost more incomprehensible to me now than it was before.
That makes sense to me. That totally makes sense. Like, this is an insight you don't want to have.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I have trouble sleeping, and I was in bed the other night and I had this like dream nightmare where like it was a dream. I was like out with my daughter and we were walking along the Hudson River, and there's like just these sort of bars. And in the dream, my daughter sort of like toddled over and just fell in the Hudson River. And I fucking woke up like immediately just like, and I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. It was like I fell asleep at 1, woke up at 2. This was like as I'm drifting off, I get this fucking scary and I just didn't sleep for the rest of the night. It's one of those things where I will always be terrified of losing either something so precious to me in a really sudden, scary way. Like, it's always going to be there. And I've done therapy. I've done fucking psychics. I've put in so much time with these fucking people.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have put in
clairvoyance. I've been all of them.
I'm fucking
tarot,
12-step, all of it.
Me too. I've done it all.
I'm just like, God damn, how much work does it take to be just a person?
Just a normal person, for God's sake.
Yeah. And I kind of have reached this point now where I'm like, it's going to be with me like forever. I'm always going to be scared to hope for the best because I would rather be pleasantly surprised that things worked out,
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
God, I have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
Are you glad you weren't there? Or would you rather have been there?
Now that I'm a parent, I am glad that I wasn't. Before, I felt horrendous guilt I wasn't there. Yeah. Felt really, really guilty. And now, almost out of like a protective instinct for my daughter, not to be able to parent her in a way that is like encouraging her to try things and make the wild choice and make her own mistakes. And, you have to have a certain level of like love and detachment to parent someone. And so I'm grateful that I wasn't there because of that.
Now, I know people may think that's a silly question, but I'll say this. My grandmother, she dropped dead of a heart attack right in front of us. And I was there and gave her CPR, mouth to mouth, all of it. 911, my brother. And it's ugly. It's the ugliest thing I've ever fucking seen. Teeth came up. Yeah. And I'm glad I was fucking there.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I was fucking there. So I know it's a weird question to ask. And it's interesting that your perspective shifted too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, like, when I was like, this is kind of a side thing, but when I was kind of deciding if I wanted to be a parent or not, I thought about that, about how my sister died, and years later, somebody asked me, like, when people ask, would you change anything about your life? Even though losing her, I would rather have her back than anything, I still wouldn't change anything about my life. Like, if I was given the choice, I wouldn't have changed anything about my life. So, and that helped me, because I was like, no matter what, you're never gonna really be able to say, like, I'm positive I did the right thing. There's always gonna be the question of, what would things be like if I'd gone a different way, or if things had gone a different way. So I didn't have to torture myself as much with that,
Yeah. The HoneyDew is sponsored by BetterHelp. We often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but what if we started looking more for green flags in our friends and partners? If you're not sure what green flags look like, therapy can help you identify green flags, actively practice them in your relationships, and embody the green flag energy yourself. It doesn't matter if you're dating, married, building a friendship, or just working on yourself. It's time to form relationships that love you back. I'm a big believer in therapy. I go to therapy. I think that if you have any issues and you need someone to talk to, a therapist is a great option. All right. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/honeydew to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do.
Because I think when losing somebody is really kind of close to the experience of giving birth. And it's traumatic, and it's paradigm shifting in the same way.
You know what? That's very well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And waiting to give birth is a lot like waiting for somebody to die.
So how does this female dynamic in the house now shift and change, and what becomes of the ladies? Do you all bond closer? Is there a minute where everybody sort of has to really think about this? Because how old was she at the time? 7?
She was 7.
7. So she has her twin sister who's 7, but the next oldest sister is what, like 10?
I guess
like
she was
18,
8,
16,
9.
10, and 7 is what I was doing in my head, roughly.
11. I think she was 11.
I mean,
Yeah.
You're all little. Even 18's fucking wild to have to deal with some shit like that.
Yeah, I was 17.
So,
My sister was 15. Yeah, so, well, it was really strange because geographically we all sort of spread out after that. Like, I went to college. My sister went to boarding school. My other sister went to boarding school.
Where'd you go to college?
Or no, my other sister went to middle school. I went to Emerson.
Okay.
In Boston. And then
home of the comedians.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't then, but it was, I mean,
a lot of
that is why
there.
When I think about like who went there, I wanted to go there because of the comics that had gone there. But yeah, basically my mom and my dad divorced, my dad got engaged again, and it was just like everyone spread out. So it really felt like, for me anyway, I felt really far away from everyone in my family, and I didn't want to go back. Like I didn't want to go back there. I didn't want to see what it was anymore, because I liked the way it was, and then my dad got remarried and my mom moved, and I was really, really angry for a long, long time. I was really mad, and I still get like, it's still really hard for me to like go be with my family.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I have this unnameable resentment that I feel whenever I have to go home. And I know that it's connected to that. Like, I know it's connected to that.
Yeah, how could it not?
Yeah.
Be? It's such a fucking...
Yeah. It's just hard to
I think of some, like the poor family also that it was their house that happened in.
Oh
like,
my God, I know.
I would hate to be the house that hosted something like that.
I know, yeah.
You know,
I feel for them too.
And
I've never...
just all of it.
It's why, like, when I've told this story, like, I've never mentioned them. I don't want them to, you know what I mean? Like, and I hope that if they hear it, that they know that everything that I, even as horrible as it was, wouldn't change my life, you know?
Did they stay friends with your mom, like, or just sort of drift away?
Yeah, I've stayed friends. I've stayed friends with them. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to your mom about this as a mom to mom about this?
Yes, it was.
Are you close with your mom?
I am close with her.
At least close enough to have that conversation.
I am close with her. My mom is a lot more emotionally available than I am.
Okay.
So it's hard for me because I don't.
Somebody's got to be emotionally available for all these ladies because dads ain't it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like if you give birth 5 times, you're a fucking open wound. Okay?
Just, literally, yeah.
For real. So I make fun of her for this because we've been in fights about it where I've said to her, I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day for the amount of crying that you want to do. You know, and she's like, well, what would you have me do?
Yeah, right, all right.
You know, so I, like, if I call my mom with like, and I want to say something emotionally, I know that I'll start crying. And there's a part of me that just doesn't want to. There's like, I don't want to. And she loves it too. It's like her fucking Cinderella story, you know, like Cinderella Man story where she's like, I thought I was out, but she's fucking calling me crying, you know, like, so I did send her a text. I sent her a text this summer because I was just sitting in the car one day and I like thought about it. And I just thought, God, I literally have no idea how she did it. And I have no idea.
Also, that's a lot of motherfucking kids.
It's a lot of kids.
And then to lose one and still have to be strong enough for
and to
4,
walk
is
around.
It 5 total together?
Yeah.
And to walk around
with
and
like that
carry
need in you to not be able to hold your bit. That's a need.
But also, you're right.
You know.
And also now how helicopter parent you become. Like I feel like I'd be, oh my God, everything my kids did, I'd be hypersensitive about now. Everything. Don't eat your hot dog like that. You're gonna choke. Like I'd be worried that I'd go everything.
Yeah.
I'd lose my mind.
Yeah, I think it's funny because when she was born, my husband had like paternal postpartum anxiety.
We can have that?
Yeah.
I should have used that. I didn't know you could have
You
that.
definitely sound like you had it. You sound like you had it.
I feel like, can I use it now?
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
I just use that excuse for a few months.
I sure would.
You know what? I forgot I had it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in now.
It's a real fucking thing.
I'd never even heard of it.
Well, he didn't hear of it.
Because no one gives a fuck about it. And rightfully so,
right.
Fine, but nobody gives a fuck about us.
But like, I noticed it immediately. He was like going into the nursery. We were in the hospital. He was going in the nursery to tell them to bring her out so he could check her breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, she's with doctors. And you're like, let me check. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of that and a lot of like medical anxiety, like afraid of like the air quality or something in the apartment getting into her lungs. And like, so it became very apparent that like, his anxiety was going to be the thing that we needed to worry about, you know, or at least the thing that we needed to like get under control before I could even go there. And oddly enough, you know, when my daughter was born, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel like, I was like, she's a fucking tank. She's going to be good.
Good.
She was 8 pounds. She's like 6'2" right now. And I'm like, she's good. You know, she's a real solid kid. And I remembered going to the doctor and being like, what about RSV? And he was like, RSV is not going to make a dent in this kid. Okay. And she was brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So I yeah, I haven't felt like a helicopter parent. But that's going to change for sure I'm going to have a much harder time when she is walking around doing shit by herself. That's when I know I'm going to go a little nuts, because it's like, you can't control anything.
Nothing.
You know what I mean?
Nothing.
You can turn the wheel right and hope the car goes to the right. You know what I mean? But so as long as she was with me, there was nothing for me to worry about. But now that she's walking and running, and I'm like, oh fuck. Now I'm starting to feel it.
It's what it's like to be a good parent. You know what I mean? A good one.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were an 80s parent, you just be like, go outside.
I know.
And then they come home at night. You're like, all right, y'all made it. All right, you're good.
I know.
You don't even know what the fuck happened out there.
I know. I'm like, I look at like car seats from that time, and I'm just like,
what car seats?
that's like a shitty roller coaster. You know what I mean?
Had no car seats, no seat belts, no nothing.
Yeah.
How do you, let me ask this two ways. How did you keep your sister's life alive in the home and stuff like that? And do you now, and will you with your daughter? And if so, how do you do that today? I know it's a two-part question. So after your sister passes, how does your family remember her on a daily basis? Are there pictures everywhere?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So
you celebrate oh my God, I'm sorry. And then I'm just realizing that your twin's going to have this birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a twin, so I get it.
Oh yeah.
Man. Yeah. Oh man, that just hit me too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll shut up.
No, I feel you know, I always feel bad for Jackie, because, you know, she'll get a text. It's like, and I don't know, like sometimes I'm like, maybe she enjoys the fact that she shares her birthday every year with her twin, and that's how she keeps her memory alive. But there's other years where it's like, you don't want to share your birthday with someone you lost. You don't want your birthday to be a reminder that you lost your twin.
A yearly reminder.
Yeah. And so I'm always really conscious of that, and I'm always making sure to, you know, send her a birthday message that is just hers. And I don't know, like we kept her memory alive. Like there's photos everywhere. Everyone talks about her. You know, everyone shares memories. And I do feel in a lot of ways like I sort of lost out on that, because the shock, I just forgot every memory. I have like one memory of her, and I genuinely do not remember anything else. And
what do you remember?
I remember driving with her to 7-Eleven. She loved Slurpees. And so I would drive her to 7-Eleven, and we would play Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, you know? And I was not a safe driver, but I would dance like the Muppets. You know how they like put their arms out like this? And so I would dance like this and drive with my knees. She's lucky she fucking lived through that. But I'd be sitting here feeling a lot more guilty.
Yeah, this would be a whole different story.
But so, you know, I would do, that's my memory of her. And she thought it was fucking hilarious. It was like a bit that I did that she just loved. And the rest of the stories, I like them. I enjoy them. I listen to them. But I feel it makes me so sad because I fucking can't reach that part of my memory. It's like gone, you know? And I've never done whatever kind of therapy can like dig that up.
EMDR?
I think so. Is that the one?
That's the one I did. And
yeah.
It worked. Dr. Drew recommended it to me. I tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
It's not talk therapy, and it has an end game.
Yeah.
And each person gets to their situation's end game differently, but
right.
I'll gladly give you the number.
Please do, because I have been thinking.
The last guest that was on here, everybody comes in. I
have been thinking. I'm like, I gotta get back into it.
Just as long as you're ready to go there, because it's gonna take you there.
I have to, because I got a kid that's growing up, and she's gonna be out there in the world.
And you have to free yourself of that mental fucking
And
prison
her.
and anxiety. Yes,
Yeah.
and her. You do not want to be the parent because then they're going to go buck wild.
Right.
Coming home with heroin needles in their
Right.
arms.
I'm
and
like,
shit.
that shit scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it's a different world.
You know, I'm like,
I wanted to ask you this, and these are questions I'm thinking of just from my past experience. When it came to your sister's funeral, was this a big event? Like this is a graduation thing. Like, did school recognize it? Did they do anything for that? Was it? I feel like this would be massively attended.
I had a bunch of my friends staying with me at my house.
That's nice.
The morning of our graduation, I remember we all got ready. We went, it was like 3 days later, you know, we went to graduation.
Wait, I'm sorry. The graduation was 3 days after the funeral or the funeral 3 days?
No, 3 days after my sister died.
It's graduation. Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's that close.
Yeah. So we went, I got on stage. I remember like getting my diploma or whatever. And I just remember everybody like clapping really, really loud and fucking hating that. You know what I mean? It's like that comic thing where it's like you tell a joke and somebody in the audience goes, oh, you know, like you're like, oh, fuck you. Because you'd rather be, I didn't want to be a victim. And I didn't want it to be true, you know? That was the thing. I just didn't want it to be fucking true. Like I didn't want her to be dead. And
3 days later is 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
You probably hadn't even slept.
Dude, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Why did you go? I'm curious. Did you do that for yourself to cross the stage? Because I'm sure they could have said, hey, we'll just mail you this motherfucker.
I think my mom wanted to make sure that we acknowledged my graduation.
I respect that too.
And I get that.
All these decisions as a mom. Like you just lost your kid 3 days ago and it's like, no, you're going to graduate, damn it.
Yeah.
You did that. That's yours.
Right. And wow, damn, that just occurred to me.
Good God.
So yeah, I think it was just like putting one foot in front of the other kind of a thing. And so then I don't remember how much longer it was till the funeral. Sure it was like later that week.
God, you're having a graduation and a funeral in the same week.
I think.
I mean,
for
probably.
real, I
just
can't remember.
Realistically,
Yeah,
it probably
but
is,
it was like, yeah. And then, and the funeral was, I don't remember that at all. Like, that was like, I remember seeing her body. I remember the wake. That I'll never forget. Seeing a dead body, like seeing someone that you love, seeing their corpse is like, you just start to go, oh shit, that's like a skin suit. You know what I mean? It kind of helped me. I never understood the point of being like, look at death, you know, but like now I'm like, I get it, you know, I get it. You kind of have to. You got to go in there and be like, look death in the eye.
Yeah, right there.
And
touch it.
Yeah.
Touch it. It's cold and feels weird. Yeah.
You like, that's not her, you know? And you do feel a little bit better because you go, oh, it's not that. Whatever we are, it's not like
not
this,
that.
you know?
Yes.
So that made me feel better. And I spoke at the funeral and
You did.
And I have, my
You're
mom
a
has
child.
a recording.
This is also she has it recorded?
Yeah. She has a
I'm
recording
sorry, I
of it.
spoke over you.
I've never listened to it, but
No?
at least not in a long time. But
Do you have what you wrote still?
My mom has it because I put it in her casket.
Oh.
And as she was getting lowered, my mom was like, do you have that thing that you wrote? And I was like, it's in there. And she was like, it's in it. She was like, she told them to stop and roll it back.
No, hold on.
Yeah, she goes,
Your mom had them stop.
Yes. She goes, roll it back. And she grabbed it.
Roll it back.
She grabbed it.
She took that out
She
of the
took
casket.
it. She was like, I want it.
And
I was like, you really are a mom.
Yeah,
Good
that's
God.
mom shit right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Hold up. Don't put my casket in the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
She also, my dad my mom wanted to put a Slurpee in the casket. My dad was like, "You're not gonna put a Slurpee in the casket." My mom snuck in and put a Slurpee under the fucking blankets so that she got a Slurpee. You know what I mean?
That's
it's like
cute.
it's really cute.
Yeah.
But
It's whatever helps you too. Have you ever had your talk with your dad about it?
no, not
Just
really.
mom.
Yeah, my dad, he tries to talk about it, but
He does.
Ish. Like he'll send.
Like what's that for him?
He'll like send pictures from her grave.
Oh, he'll go visit her.
Yeah, he'll visit her. He visits her grave. I think more than anyone else. I think he visits her grave. Yeah. I don't. I really don't. And it's just like I can't do it. I think about her all the time.
Oh.
I talk about her to my daughter. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy, but I can't like, I don't know. Seeing a grave is like scary to me.
Do you go? Do you go see it when you're back home or anything?
No.
No. Have you ever? Since the funeral, have you ever gone to visit?
I don't think, I might have once. I really don't like being there.
Yeah.
I don't, it just like it hurts too much to like go back there,
Yeah.
I don't like to look at it, and I don't like to think of her as, I don't like to think of her like that, I don't know why. I can't like fully, damn, I've never cried on a podcast.
You got me going over
but
here.
You know what I mean? Like I can't, I just don't, I think I really still have a lot of like leftover like anger about it, and I've seen it a lot in the last like 2 years. But like I should have seen it before because it was there. But when I had the baby and I was pregnant and I was like, all this shit was coming up, and it's like you just start to really have to face your shit.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see it.
Just laying down there dormant in a fucking hammock, chilling.
Oh my God.
Waiting its turn to fucking pop up and ruin your fucking shit for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been in therapy for 10 fucking years. How did I barely make a dent in this? How the fuck?
It's all new shit too. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But no, I haven't really been back. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll go back.
It's something you could do with your daughter one day.
Yeah, just the world's worst field trip, but I do think like.
Also, does it fuck with you that your sister? No, what are the twins' names again?
Graeme and Jackie.
Jackie passed.
No, Graeme passed.
Jackie. So were they identical or fraternal?
Fraternal.
Do they look alike at all? Like when you see Jack,
No.
So it's not a weird thing where you're always seeing this person that was identical to this person that passed. Yeah.
No. Graeme looked like me.
Yeah?
Yeah. We looked almost identical to each other.
I knew I was going to cry.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about I'm an idiot. Please talk to me like I'm a moron, but is it a law? What is it your mom had created? Is it an act? What is it that is and how did she like do it? Did she
had legislation passed. I don't know if it was an act or a law, or I think it's a law. But she went up against like the big pool. I don't know what you call it.
The BPI, big pool industry.
Big pool. And and she made sure
your mom's out there battling big pool water.
She's out there bottling just right up against big jacuzzi and those fucking pigs.
Yeah.
And so she got this law passed that
every
jacuzzi has to have a drain cover on it so that this kid,
they all have a cap now.
Yeah.
That's because of your sister and your mom.
Yeah.
That's why. Does that fuck with you when you go somewhere and you see a goddamn jacuzzi and that's on there?
I always, sometimes I'll like look down to see if it's there. I never trust that it's there. Even if it's there, I don't trust that it's there. So I don't like, I'll go in a jacuzzi, but I don't fucking like jacuzzis. It's like they're not a fucking party place for me anymore. I remember we had one outside of our hotel room on my honeymoon, and I was like, sweet, I'm like, I'm not going in that fucking thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird that it's down there and it makes me really grateful that like she was able to save so many.
Well, that's all I want to talk
lives.
about. Your mom must be a strong woman to lose her child, to still sit there in the brave face.
She was sober
Could
the
you
whole
attend
time.
graduation?
I mean, what the fuck?
I don't think I could go to my kid's graduation 3 days later. I know I'd have to, but man, to go and show up and break, and then to sit with it, deal with it, and then say, I'm going to do something about this. What a also great way to fucking remember your child too.
Yeah.
You know, what a legacy. That's pretty fucking awesome. Actually.
I think she
Is it called something? I'm so stupid.
It's called the Virginia Graeme Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act. It is an act.
It's an act.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Virginia the state or is Virginia
No, Virginia
her name?
was her first name and Graeme was what we called her.
Virginia, so it's a fair question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is her full name act.
Yeah.
And it's what, nationwide, everywhere you go now? I mean, if you're doing them now, what year was that? What did it start? Do you know?
Damn, I don't know.
90s?
No, it would have been in the 2000s. Yeah. It would have been like 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe 2009. But
did you know she was doing this?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Did she call you the day it happened and be like, we
went,
did it?
Yeah, we went to the White House.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
We went down to the White House. George Bush was in the White House.
Okay.
And
senior? No. W, yeah.
So we went down and we saw him sign it and we were there and
he literally signed your sister's name's act. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, my mom was in a unique position to be able to get that done because of my granddad and because of who he was.
Who was he?
He was Secretary of State under George Bush Sr.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
James Baker.
That's her grandfather.
That's my granddad.
Your mom's dad. Gotcha.
My dad's dad, but my mom's father-in-law. Yeah.
Got it. All right.
So she was able to use that I think for something good, you know? And I am grateful for that because she was not going to rest until something got done about it, you know? And she knew that she was in a unique position to be able to do that because of who my granddad was or is. And he's still alive. But yeah, he was able to help her get that done too. I'm really grateful to him for that.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, Rosebud Baker. Who's gonna be happy? All right, so my last question before we get to my very last question is as your daughter does get older, is Graeme someone you're going to tell her about and you know,
absolutely.
Do you have pictures of her around your house now or anything like that? You do? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I have pictures of her around the house. I considered for a long time whether or not I was going to use her name with my daughter. I ended up not because I already knew I was going to be dealing with a lot of post-traumatic whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's not do that. But I always tell her, I'm like, you have an Auntie Graeme, you know, and I don't, you know, she doesn't talk yet, but I'm excited to tell her about her, you know, and
it's pretty awesome.
Do what I
She's
can.
got all these aunts. She's got a bunch of aunts. Yeah.
She's got so many aunts.
So many aunts. A lot of cousins. You're the oldest, so maybe not yet.
Well, my sister had a baby before me.
Okay.
And she has another cousin who's like 6 months apart from her. So my sister had two. My sister left my labor, went home and found out she was pregnant.
No.
Again. Yeah.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hope she has a lot of cousins. I think that would be really special, you know. I want, I wish that I could give her sisters, but I don't know if I want to have more than one kid. I think it's one and done for me, you know. It's going to take a lot of undoing old shit to be able to raise her the way I want to raise her. So, you know, you have to have time to do that. You have to have time to give yourself. So
So I mentioned before we did this podcast that I was going to ask you at the end of whatever we talked about, advice you would give to your 16-year-old self.
God
I'm
damn.
curious because
That's like the year before.
the next year is the worst fucking horrible thing. What do you say?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I didn't even put that together when we were in the parking lot before. I think if there was anything that I would say to myself, it's that nothing is going to stay the same forever, you know, and you have to, rather than focusing on protecting what you have in this moment, just focus on enjoying it. And when it changes and when you have to let it go, don't be afraid to be sad, and don't be afraid to let it change you.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I think that's what I would say.
Man, Rosebud Baker. Thank you for real for coming on and doing this.
Thank you.
I know that wasn't easy to talk about. You
No,
got me
thank
crying
you.
over here. I'm sorry I made you cry.
I'm glad you made me cry. I have to watch fucking Dumbo getting cradled between prison bars to cry normally. So this is good.
Please promote everything and anything you'd like one more time.
Yeah, just check out my road dates on rosebudbaker.com. Definitely check out my special, The Mother Lode. It's out on Netflix right now. And I got an old special too out there on YouTube called Whiskey Fists. And that's it. And I'm on, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Rosebud Baker.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You got it.
Yeah.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. We'll talk to y'all next week.